Hello and welcome to Carla Knits. This is a podcast about knitting, crocheting, and always all of the yarny goodness that I love. Today is Monday, April 14th, and I'm coming to you from my home in Nebraska. A big hello and welcome to any new and returning viewers. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I thank you so much for spending some of your time with me. It's been several weeks since my last podcast. Things have gotten busy, but I can share more about that later in the episode. We'll get into all of the yarny goodness, all of the things that I've been up to the last few weeks. So patterns and anything I talk about will be listed in the description box down below. So I have one finished object, which doesn't seem like a lot since my last podcast, but I do have several works in progress. But my finished object is a Shorty pair of socks. And these are just so pretty. This pattern is by Buckingham. This is Cozy Time Shorty socks. I just think they are so springy. The yarn is Wildflower yarn. That's a UK dyer, and you can purchase her yarns on Etsy. But these worked up fairly quickly. It's a very memorizable pattern, so it was really fun to work up. And I just, like I said, this is so springy and colorful. This yarn has been in my stash for many years, it feels like, so I'm glad to have taken that out and used some of it. And of course, with Shorty socks, I have plenty left for other projects. So that is my finished object for today. Going into works in progress, I do have a half object. Let me grab that. So this work in progress is living in this fun telephone print bag that I made several years ago. And this is a gift sock that I am working on for my husband's uncle. This is Uncle Stu, and he is very knit worthy. I have knit him a cable hat and a cable scarf in the past, and he has always been very appreciative. And now I am knitting him a pair of socks. So I have the first sock done. It's just a plain vanilla sock. The yarn is by Regia in the color 3891. And I just think that self-patterning yarn is so fun. So there, the first one is done, and I have made some decent progress on the second one. So I'm working down the leg. I probably have 10 to 12 more rows to go before I start the heel flap and gusset. I guess it kind of took me a while. I started on the ribbing and just picked it up pretty infrequently, and then yesterday I thought let's just put some time into it, so it got a little bit more love yesterday. But again, I really love that self-patterning yarn. That is just so fun, and Regia is such a good sturdy feeling yarn that I know these socks will last for a long time. They're good hard wearing socks. So that is half object and work in progress. All right, going on, I have another sock as a work in progress. Just throwing stuff down here. This is living in my Michigan bag that I love. I got this a number of years ago from Specialty Sewing on Etsy. I grew up in Michigan. If you're new here, I grew up in Michigan, the Grand Haven area. And so, yeah, Michigan is near and dear to my heart. So I'm using this project bag because this is for my niece, Alison, who, well, she grew up in Michigan. So I think about home, I think about family, I think about Michigan for my side of the family. So I've got a little bit of a start on a sock for Alison. I don't know if I said for Christmas. This is actually going to be for her birthday, which is in December. So sorry, a little rusty. It's been a little while since I've shared and talked to you guys. So thanks for your patience. So this is a sock set from Maker's Haven, who no longer dies, but I loved her yarn. I still continue to love her yarn. I have several of her sock sets. So this came as a 70-gram sock set with 50 grams of the main color and then 20 grams of the contrast color. And I don't know how the camera is picking it up, but this is a very, very, very deep, like eggplant purple. And then blue and charcoal black and light gray in the main yarn. I did ask last time about 50-gram skeins and, you know, how much could you get out of that? Could you get a sock, like a full sock? And several of you did write, and so I do appreciate that. I had talked about adding in a contrast of this yarn. This is an unknown yarn, but it's a dark blue sock yarn. But someone shared that they get a full pair of socks out of a 50-gram plus a 20-gram mini. So I did this for 15 rounds. I probably will do the leg or to about 6 inches. I plan to do the heel flap in this color and then work down the foot. And this is for a size 7 women's sock. So since I've never done a bigger sock with a 50-gram sock set, you know, part of me is a little nervous about having enough yarn, but I did divide my main skein into 2, and you know, I'll make it work out, or I'll just trust the process that I should have plenty of yarn for a pair of socks. Usually with the 50-gram sets, I've made Shorty socks, or those Rose City rollers, which basically have no cuff at all, which then I know that I can get, you know, a full set of socks out of that. But this is going for a bigger pair. Boy, this sounds so convoluted. I hope you understand. At any rate, this is the progress I have on my niece Alison's sock. All right, so that was a new cast on since the last time. I'm going to share an update on my corner to corner blanket, which is living in this Indie Untangled bag. It's pretty full. I have really enjoyed working on this. You know, our weather here in Nebraska has been weird. We've had chilly weather, which of course makes it wonderful to work on a blanket. And then we've had really warm weather in which I don't feel like working on it. So, you know, as we transition more into these warmer months, I'm not sure if I will continue to get as much time on this as I'd like. But I guess if I, you know, sit in the cooler basement with air conditioning, it should be, it should be okay. It just depends on what I feel like working on. But I'm a little tangled here. I have made some very decent progress since the last time you saw this. So where that marker is, right there, I have made quite a decent amount, probably 10 inches maybe. I have squared off for the width of the blanket. Does it say squared off? Yep, so I have squared off for the corner. So I've got it as wide as I want it. And now I'm continuing to crochet the rows to get up to the height I want it for the length of the blanket. So I still have maybe, I think I decided maybe 3 or 4 inches on the top of this before I just start my decreases. but I am really enjoying this. I should say what this is. This is based on a corner-to-corner dishcloth pattern by Agat Rottman. It's crochet. It's done in the linen stitch or moss stitch. I've heard it called both. And hopefully you can see some of those details. I am doing this in DK weight. I have DK leftovers. I have DK mini skeins. I did try adding in fingering weight. I held fingering weight doubled. I didn't like that. I held fingering weight tripled to try to match gauge, and I just didn't like the way that looked. I just could not get it just right. So I guess I am going to probably stick with DK yarn. And I am running out of the colors that I like for this blanket. So, you know, I'm doing more pastels, a few bright pops in there, but mostly pastels, pinks, aquas, some creamy taupey colors. You know, there's enough different colors in here, but overall I think it reads as a nice pastel. So I have caked up several full skeins from my stash of yarn that I think will go good in here, and I'll just randomly intersperse them in here. And then I also yeah, so that's maybe 4 or 5 different skeins that I could use. And then I confess, order a mini skein set of DK weight that I thought looked really, the palette looked very similar to this. So I will be adding in those. I don't have those yet, which seems silly for a scrappy blanket, but I still want it to be I want it to be pleasing to me. I don't want to just start adding in random colors just to finish it. I kind of want it to look, you know, look like it's intentional. Well, the color palette is intentional. So I do love this project so much. I really enjoy working on it when the weather has been a little cooler. So we will see what progress I can make on it over the next few weeks. All right, I will set that aside. So a couple of new things that I haven't shown. Sorry, I'm bending down here. The first is a crochet stuffy. I had purchased this pattern either late last year or earlier this year. I've seen a lot of crochet stuffies, or loveys, people call them, and I'm not making it for anybody in particular. It's just something that caught my eye that I wanted to do. So this particular pattern is called Willow the Deer, and it's by My Dear Knot, D-E-A-R Knot. And I purchased the pattern on Etsy. And let me show you the progress so far. So I have a little reindeer head, which maybe looks a little crazy right now. And I do have the ears. Probably a little hard to show, but I need to do antlers too. This is made with very chunky yarn, so I'm using Bernat Baby Blanket. This is the sand colorway, and this is vanilla. I could not find a brown or a dark brown in this line, so this brown for this nose is, I think this is a size 6 weight yarn, and I think this is a size 5. So I actually held the nose for the embroidery. I held 2 strands together for the nose, and that yarn is Big Twist Posh in the chocolate fudge colorway. It is a little challenging to crochet with this yarn. The starting part was probably the most challenging, just to exactly see your stitches. So I adjusted a little bit in the pattern, but I think it's pretty cute so far. And I haven't really done a whole lot with this, just a few minutes, because I wanted to get it started. I kept wanting to start this project, but kept putting it off. I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. Even if it takes me a while, I just want to start. So maybe a few pieces here and there. So, you know, you have to do the ears, the antlers, the legs, the arms, and the body. So there are different parts to it. So that maybe makes it little manageable chunks that I can do. So that is Willow the deer. All right. I had shared last time that I had ordered some yarn and that I was interested in making a couple spring/summer tops. So my yarn did come. And the first top that I cast on, I only cast on one. This is Etta, E-T-T-A, Etta. It's a summer tea or spring tea by Alison Green. It uses Berroco yarn Sesame. So I have some of this over here. So I have 4 skeins of it. So Berroco Summer Sesame. The content is 47% cotton, 44% acrylic, and 9% nylon. It is very nice and drapey yarn. It's been really nice to work with. There are some little nubbies in there, and so sometimes that's not the most pleasant, but it's not too bad. The yarn is categorized as a 4 weight, which is a worsted weight. But I would call it a light DK or sport weight at best. But I think because it has those little nubs in it, that's maybe why they categorized it. But I certainly don't see it as a worsted weight. But here is my progress so far. I might have to just hold this sideways. Well, I have made quite a good bit of progress on this. I don't know if I spread this out, if you can see the lace. Maybe not, because I have a busy shirt on in the background. But here is how the yarn is working up. Very lightweight and drapey. I definitely will have to wear like a tank underneath. I have black or navy blue, so that will be very nice. I did swatch for this and started this pretty soon after the yarn arrived. The lace is charted, so the lace is not written out, which at first I was like, oh, you know, I usually like written instructions, but the chart was very, very simple to follow. The increases, there are different increases used. So there will be some make ones coming up, but throughout the lace portion, they were lifted increases, and I hadn't done those in a long time. I can't even remember which project I would have done them, but I did have to do some review on the left lifted increase and the right lifted increase. Makes for a fairly invisible increase in your fabric, so I do really like that. The yarn I got this yarn from, I think it's Michigan Fine Yarns, and they had a couple of the Berroco Sesame colorways left in their store, and it reduced significantly. So so I went ahead and purchased this one. I liked both of them, but I thought this was maybe a little, this would look nice. I have some gray linen pants that I could wear this with. I have, let's see, some black pants I could wear with, like capris that I could wear this with in the summer. So I thought this would be a fun color. So maybe not a bright color for Carla, but I think it'll still be a nice one. And I am, let's see, just about done with the lace chart. And then I have to knit a little bit, do one more round of increases. And those are turning into, let's see, those increases I think are make ones. Then there are some short rows to lift up the back so that the back of the neck sits slightly higher. And then I will be just about ready for dividing for sleeves. So it is working up pretty quickly. It's been very, very enjoyable to work on, a very relaxing project. So I can't say enough good about this pattern. It's really enjoyable. All right, one other thing that I have been spending my time on is this little guy. So this is a gospel octopus, and one of my knitting friends, my in-person knitting group that meets on Tuesdays, we always meet at the library, and she and her husband were missionaries. They definitely work in the missionary field. And many years ago, there was a missionary who wanted to use these, and so my friend Susan and a bunch of people knitted the bodies, and then they crochet the tentacles. So Susan asked if we, as our knitting group on Tuesday, would mind putting some tentacles on the octopus. And the color kind of tells the gospel story, and I'm not going to go into that because I don't entirely remember what all of the colors stand for. But missionaries use these to share the gospel story and to pass these out. And I guess the supply of octopi was deleted, so Susan was asked if she could provide some more octopus for another missionary friend that passes these out. So we have been, the last couple of weeks, adding tentacles to these octopus. So I think Susan said she has like 100 bodies. So we did some of it during our knit group, and we've taken some of it home. So I try to do a little bit every couple of days, but that definitely has taken some of my knitting and crochet time, but really fun and easy to do. Just the tentacles, very simple crochet to add those. So I just wanted to share that on there. I think it would be a really fun way to share the gospel story with children. Yeah. So those are all of the things that I have been working on the past several weeks. I do have some stash enhancement to share today. It is a bit, since I haven't seen you guys for a while. And yeah, it's a little weird because last year I was so gung-ho about not purchasing yarn and just using my stash. And in the back of my mind, I still like to work from my stash, but I've also bought yarn this year, and I've enjoyed doing that too. So if you're interested, I will share some yarn that I have received or that I have purchased. I'm gonna grab this basket back here. Oops. The other sweater that I had talked about is the Magna Flora by Alisa Hartzel. My notes just went flying, so I'm going to do the best I can. So the yarn that I'm going to use is in this bag. This is Drops Belle. This is a 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen. I don't know exactly how the color will show up, but the color is called Almond Rose. So it's kind of a rosy brown. Yeah, a rosy brown. It's very, very pretty. So I think, you know, I'm not going to start it probably till after the last, you know, the Etta tea is done. But I do look forward to doing that either this summer or this spring or this summer. 2 skeins of yarn that I ordered a while ago. This was as a pre-order from Salty Blonde Fiber. This was part of her Hallmark Movie collection, and I'm a sucker for Hallmark movies. So this one is called Solitude, and that is just so pretty. Both of these are really springy. And this one is called Afternoon Tea. And you know me and my pinks and purples. So I love both of these a lot. Just a little bit more. This is from Garenhuis Yarn House. It's a yarn store in Holland, Michigan, which I got to visit in person last year over Mother's Day weekend. And last year I got a skein of yarn that was exclusively dyed for their store. They have a big tulip festival in town, and so it kind of goes in conjunction with that. And this year the dyer was Baah Yarn, and this is La Jolla. And if I remember, if I can find a picture that this was based on, but beautiful tulips. The color is called Spring It On. So this is a fingering weight skein of yarn. It is 100% superwash merino, so I would not use it for socks. So probably a little shawl or scarf or cowl, but I need to find something because obviously this is a highly variegated yarn. So I wouldn't want I probably would want something that's not too highly textured because I don't know that you would see the texture. But the colors absolutely remind me of spring and of tulips. So very, very pretty. And then the last skein of yarn you would have seen in my thumbnail for today. This is a giant skein of yarn as big as my head. This is by Sirdar. This is Jewelspun Ombre. It's an Aran weight yarn. It is a single ply. It is acrylic. It is very, very soft. When I saw this yarn, I just thought it glowed. And I saw several patterns, which I'm going to include some of the patterns as photos here, with sweaters and cardigans, and I just thought this yarn was just so pretty. I mean, it just glows. So there's like some dark or some fuchsia, there's some coral. I mean, it just transitions from all of these different glowing colors. I don't know if I said what it is called. It is called Crimson Sunset, and I think that color is perfect to describe this, or that name is perfect to describe this color. So this skein of yarn has 1,093 yards in it, which is a lot. And I actually have 2 of these. So at some point I will make either a pullover sweater or a cardigan. I just think, yeah, that just feels like such a Carla color. I just loved it. So, very, very fun big ball of yarn. So those are my stash enhancements that have come in the last several weeks. I think that is it. That certainly feels like plenty. So I just have been very busy with work. If you are new here, I am a piano teacher at a college and at a local elementary school. And so I have, you know, students aged kindergarten up through the college age, which is very interesting and challenging and fun. Each brings their own sets of challenges. So it's just been a really busy time. We have a few weeks left in the semester. I am definitely looking forward to summer break. I have also been busy. I'm also a church organist, several services over the last several weekends, and I have one more service coming up over the Easter weekend, which is almost here. So just really busy with work, I will say. But I do try to find time every day to knit and crochet, because that's the thing that really brings my heart joy and kind of helps, calm, brings less stress into my life. It's just kind of a calming thing. I did tell my mom, hi mom, if you're watching, that when I sit down in the evening, sometimes those stitches feel so labored. I think because I'm so tired, like knitting on that pair of socks for Uncle Stuart, sometimes each stitch just feels so labored because I'm doing it, in the evening after a long day. But each stitch helps that fabric grow. So that is just fine. That is just fine. So I hope that you are all doing well. I hope you are enjoying your spring. If you are in the United States where it is spring or supposed to be spring, I would love to hear from you. If you would like to share what you're working on, I would enjoy hearing that so much. Any projects that are bringing you joy or excitement, I would just love to hear from you. I guess I will say happy Easter to you. Coming up this next weekend, we are going to be going to my son and daughter-in-law's house for Easter. So that's a real treat that they are hosting Easter. So looking forward to that for sure. So thank you all for spending your time with me. I greatly appreciate it. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing and give it a thumbs up. And I hope to be back, maybe not such a big break between podcasts. So take care. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.